welcome back to the Dish and Ish podcast. That's my main man, old DB.
What's up?
I'm Ravi Lulla. And just because we do a show every day together now doesn't mean you're not going to still get your podcast.
There's stuff we can't get to, man.
There's a lot we can't get to. And one of the things that...
But I think it's just that you want to cuss.
No, I almost never cuss on here.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not like Solder. I'm not just popping off.
But the funny thing is, it's like just talking to you on a humbug and random. You are not afraid.
No, I mean, listen, especially
like
when
Eminem, right?
Especially when I'm talking about some things that make me irrationally angry.
I kind of laugh, though. I like when you get fired up. The chill Robbie, that dude's okay. The ramped up Robbie, that dude is funny.
So you like me about 4% of the time because I'm even keel most of the time.
I know, right? It's like, so here's the thing. When like you're bringing us in and out and you're like, hey, welcome back. And it's, or hey, another episode or another segment. I'm like, he's not really that dude. Because I know if I say something slick, this dude, you're going like, it's not 0 to 100 super quick, but you're going to get there and I'm going to know when you got there.
Well, so I'm like kind of chilling at like 35 most of the time.
Yeah.
But I'll go 35 to 100 in a hurry if you get me wrong.
Yeah. Like, hey, it's really bugging me about this whole Deion Sanders thing. I want to ask you about Deion. I was like, can I just have an opinion, Robbie?
I'm just curious because it seems so out of character.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I'm telling you. So there's a handful of things that don't fit my personality.
Which is totally fair.
And it stems usually. It stems from a long affinity for whatever it is that seems out of character.
So like a childhood, like, or whatever. Something that's been around for a long time.
Vince Carter.
Sure. Yeah. I got you.
You know, like Deion, like they get, it's not even a pass because you can work your way out of my love life. Like there is no question.
No, but they get grandfathered in.
Right.
Yes.
To start. And
I get that.
And Deion just hasn't moved my needle enough to the negative.
Sure.
To do that yet. Because
and that's totally fair.
At the end of the day, my man wins.
He does win. And that's something obviously we've talked about.
And I don't only just like winners, but there's a reason I came up with the nickname Front Runner because I hate front runners by nature.
Okay.
So I'm kind of like, because I'm typically rooting for the underdog.
Yeah.
But
I would say Deion isn't an underdog.
No, but his story
not
is
now,
spectacular.
not anymore.
Well, I like work done.
Yeah. Undersized guy.
Some similar, you know, mom, the murder.
Yeah.
Deion, while his family loved him, was a little disjointed.
Sure.
Like, I almost never root for the fave.
Okay.
I don't.
I get that. Is that why? That's why you're a little tepid on Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. So I wanted to say Golden Boy earlier.
Yeah.
He's a little too Golden Boyish for me.
He was anointed.
And I don't love that. And I think,
but he's also a winner, which you do love.
He makes it look relatively
easy.
Effortless.
Yeah.
And so the conflict in that is, I like that in my running backs.
You don't like it in your quarterbacks.
I don't like that in my quarterbacks.
You want to see him working a little bit?
Yeah. Do you know what took me a long time to actually grow into?
Who?
Andrew Luck.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of the anointed one. And I'm like, most of the captain comebacks and it's because he created it.
Yeah, it was self-imposed.
Right?
Yeah.
And he was all shucksy, and I'm like, this isn't real. But over time,
I think it is real. I think that's
over time, he won me over.
We like to call him the original Nick Henrich voice.
So I'm they sound the same.
They're identical.
And I think that's why Nick rocked the neck beard too.
Just to be like Andrew Luck.
Yeah, he let his hair grow out. I was messing with him on the airplane going to Minnesota because I thought there was maybe an outside chance he was going to play.
Yeah.
He was one of the two guys that Coach Rule was going to see how they got treatment. And, and Marcus Washington was the other.
Right.
Marcus ended up playing.
Mm-hmm.
How about Rule taking Marcus Washington when he was suspended for the first half?
Especially suspended and wasn't 100% sure he was healthy.
And he didn't feel good.
That's riding with a guy.
So listen, and he put him in the Marcus Washington flew in the very last seat in the plane.
Really?
Oh, straight Rosa Parks. Like I mean, mask on, chilling, spent some time in the bathroom. Like I knew he didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And it just further endeared me to why I like
Yeah,
it.
because he's overcome some stuff.
And he has no idea how I really feel about
Yeah.
him because it's not important.
That
I'm
you have
just
an
this
affinity.
old dude. But like I'm a big Marcus Washington fan. I know how his recruitment went. I know how it came out of the portal.
Yeah.
You know, he's an East St. Louis guy. I know a lot of people that knew him growing up that know his dad. And it wasn't easy for him to get to where he is at Nebraska because he was kind of an afterthought.
Yeah.
And people didn't think he was very good. So,
I think that's kind of part of the reason I ride with Joe Burrow so much.
yeah, but I don't know, man.
What?
Burrow had it pretty good.
Well, okay.
And it's not like he was a lowly 2-star coming out, right?
No, I mean, he was reasonably well thought of, but
he went to Ohio State.
And he was pretty much an afterthought there.
You do know that, right? Like,
I'm aware.
Okay.
But he went to Ohio State, was mostly an afterthought, goes to LSU, doesn't really set the world on fire his first year as a starter.
Nope.
And then figure some things out. Like, I get that it's not okay coming out of poverty and doing whatever.
And it doesn't have,
but it wasn't.
That doesn't have to be my narrative.
I understand that. But
I just hate white knighting, and I don't like the storybook.
Yeah, you don't like the guys with the preordained path.
Yeah. Not that I would play with Barbies, nor do I think that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, you do you.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be a Ken or a Barbie guy.
Yeah, and Trevor Lawrence,
anatomically perfect.
Trevor Lawrence is very much a Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Ken quarterback.
So am I shallow in some areas? Absolutely. But will I be honest about where I'm shallow? Oh, 100%.
I think that's about all you can ask for is some self-awareness about it.
Listen, I'll let you know right where you stand. Sometimes you just got to ask me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. One of the other things that we've been trying to get to I've been trying to get to all week.
You never know with you, man. Your rundowns and those emails, I'm like, is it me? Or does the show actually break out? I think the show
actually breaks out. And listen, I send those a little behind the, a little how the sausage is made inside baseball here. I send Damon a list of like 5 or 6 topics every day, every night after I've kind of thought about things for the show of things that we could get to the next day. And most of the time we get to maybe one of them, which is terrific. That means we had a good show. If we get to all 6, we didn't have a very good show.
I know.
That's how I feel. I want it to be a much more organic experience, but I'm also one of those better have it and not use it than use it and not, or better have it and not need it rather than need it and not have it. Right?
Yeah. So you know my line for that?
What's that?
People are like, oh man, why do you still work out or this, that, and the other? And I always say I'd rather be caught with than without.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I'm with the show. Right?
I'd rather be caught with. I may not need it, but at some point I might. I'd rather be caught with.
And you've seen it on the rundowns on the stuff that's not like real time sensitive. I just roll it over day after day, and maybe we never get to it. And that's all right.
It's a little early for that. She's carrying that like a football. Where do you think she's going with all that liquor?
I was hoping she'd come over and hang out with us, but
man, you're not kidding. Man, chilled on the rocks.
But one of the other things that I wanted to get to, and I texted you about this last night because I wanted to make sure we were okay.
And you shouldn't do that.
Why?
Because you didn't tell me what it was.
No,
specifically. Yeah. But you don't have to get my blessing.
Okay. Nah. I just don't want to put you in a weird spot.
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay. But
it wouldn't be the first time you've done it. Fudge.
It's certainly not like getting you on the therapy couch to talk about.
I mean, those first couple of pods, I'm like, what is this dude doing? Right? But I'm not going to lie. One time I was mad at you for like 2 weeks.
For which one?
He's a child. You know why I know it's petty? Because I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think it was the divorce one.
Probably.
But that's okay. Like, I can own that.
We got deep on that one.
I tell people the difference between an excuse and an explanation is ownership.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. You were cranking me for that one. I
was like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
And then 30 minutes later, I'd ask you, this isn't how this started.
No, I think we started talking about your we were talking about running backs. We were talking about the running back like pay scale, and somehow we ended up talking about divorce, which is I don't know. There's probably
ha ha ha! You got jokes.
that is kind of funny.
Little ass
to you
face
guys.
just over
Okay,
there
not today.
gassing me up.
That is a little funny. But no, so I sent you a text last night. And I'm like, hey, I kind of want to get to something, but I know you don't always like to talk about this. So next time,
Well, I typically don't like to talk about myself,
right,
contrary to popular belief.
And so this isn't really that. I asked you if we could talk about some things that happened during your playing days, and this really isn't about you, more about the team and kind of the culture and situation in general. So we'll just stop kicking around it and get to it. I've been thinking a lot about how hard it is to be a three-peat national champion in college football because it hasn't happened for almost 100 years. We're talking about Minnesota in the 30s is the last time it happened. And there's not a lack of teams that have had chances, right? But I am in the very unique situation to do a show with someone that has very intimate knowledge of what it's like to be in that situation. And
could have happened on a couple of occasions.
So, I mean, you guys were obviously there's the Florida State in 93 or 93 season. I'm going to use the season number. That's
I'm not good at that. So you just tell me who we played and I'll know. We don't have to specify the year.
Florida State.
I hate doing that.
The field goal.
I don't know why I
suck
at it. Yeah.
So you guys are missed kick away from winning the title in 93.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been 3 in a row, 93, 94, and 85. Now it's hard to do butterfly effect, like what happened.
Yeah, working backwards. And
then
the 96 season is the easiest.
You're also looking at 96 where you dropped so the one that I remember the most is the 4th down play against Texas in the Big 12 championship game, right? What was the game that was dropped in the regular season?
Arizona State.
That's right. Second game of the year, Jake Plummer. Jake the Snake down there.
That team turned out to be a lot better than we thought.
Yeah, at the time it looked like a horrible loss.
So you know what's funny?
What was that, 19-2, something like
that? We didn't score 19-0.
Oh, I thought there was a 2. Am I dumb?
No, well they had 3 2s. That's probably where you got
Maybe
it from.
There's too many safeties.
Yeah. Wow, what a jerk!
What I do?
So do you know why? So you know why immediately why I jumped in with BC and with you, where you said, "Hey, we don't know how this team's going to end up."
Yeah.
So it's not to say, and I'm like, look, don't explain that away.
Right.
Nobody has to apologize for. He gave the Michigan example under Devaney.
Yes. Yeah.
Where Michigan turned out to not be very good, but at the time you celebrated it, right?
Right.
Just like TCU, and I said, TCU could turn out to not be very good,
and I would bet on that.
And it doesn't keep Colorado from being excited because you don't own. That's not your burden.
And Colorado
as
might
the team you're playing, that is not your burden.
And Colorado might end up being 6-6, but it's still, if a Nebraska win, would still break a 21 game losing streak against ranked opponents, right?
So I stay in the moment. Do you know why? Because nobody thought Arizona State was going to be very good.
Yeah, nobody thought they were any good at all.
And guess
they
what?
ended up playing in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. For a national title.
And Jake Plummer was like that dude.
And that team, Terry Poole, those guys, Derek Rogers, they turned out
really good.
All turned out to be really, really good.
Yes.
So guess what I don't do?
Don't jump ahead.
Nope. I don't discredit anybody. Yeah. You take real time for what it is, because at no point during that season until about week 8 did people take Arizona State seriously, and they whipped our ass.
Well, we just had another one this weekend with, I think there's a chance that LSU is maybe not quite as good as people thought in terms of top 5.
So do you know what I think about that?
Playoff what's that?
I don't think Daniels is that guy. And I never have.
Yeah.
I always gave LSU the credit, the nod this year because of Kelly.
Yeah.
I don't think Daniels is that. Now, he may prove me wrong, but
I think
my man totally melted down.
More to go right than you would like for a quarterback for that level of
100%,
right? Whereas Jordan Travis on the other side of that one can do some things when things are falling apart.
Yeah, but talk about a guy that has changed his narrative.
Ooh. When he got to Florida State, he couldn't throw a lick.
I know. He still has an awkward delivery.
Yeah, but it gets it done.
He makes it work.
He gets it done.
How about her shoe game?
Strong.
Real strong.
You're going
Those
anytime.
Dunks are fantastic.
Yeah, anytime you go with like the old school Nikes, Air Force Ones, like I'm all on board. But one of the things that I wanted to get to, because obviously Georgia has the chance to three-peat this year. I don't think they're going to. I didn't pick them to be in my playoff. But
which, by the way, was kind of a low-key hot take.
Yeah. They had
because if you ask
so
20 people,
turnover.
19 have them.
Yes, they do. They just have so much turnover on the defense, at quarterback. I think, like, listen, I was a Stetson Bennett hater as much as anybody.
No, I was not.
Because I think he's a gamer. I don't think he's that talented. Is that fair?
That's fair.
So, like, listen, I understand he was really good for
Guess what?
It worked.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Who do you think Georgia would take if they had it to do over against Stafford or Stetson Bennett?
Stetson Bennett.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a winner.
Yeah.
He's the same thing that you asked me about earlier.
Absolutely
today.
a winner. And he's been, it took him a long time to get where he was. Like,
people wondered what was wrong with Matt Stafford. Oh, but he's so talented.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, Georgia has kind of a history of kind of running through some higher profile guys and not really getting the most out of them, right?
Well, not everybody can be Eric Zier, my friend.
Well, you've got, I mean,
not everybody can be Fromm.
Big Jake Fromm guy?
Yeah, Hey, I was a big Jake Fromm guy.
He was a really solid college quarterback.
Yeah, Jake Fromm's still playing in the league, though.
Well, he's in the league. Playing is a different.
Wow.
But
hater rate is Thursday for that deep down body. Hey.
Well, you know, I'm gonna tell it like it is. Playing is an aggressive word for what Jake Fromm does in the NFL. So what I wanted to ask though was, you're in a very unique position to know what it's like to be in a position to three-peat and to know the challenges of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the obvious challenge, right, is just roster turnover in college. You know, we're talking about Georgia, Stetson Bennett gone. You've got like half of the defense gone. And guys, they're all going in the first round. Bennett not, obviously. You have really high level first round guys on that defense that are gone. Your two-time national championship winning quarterback gone. So part of it's just the practicality of what college football is, right? And so, like, I kind of want to put that part of it to the side.
Turnover to the side.
There's more to it, though, right? Because I think you've told me before. You go, hey, if we don't lose in 93, 94 doesn't happen. And if 94 doesn't happen, 95 doesn't look like it does either. So when you say that,
okay,
what is that? Is it just the motivation? Is that all it was from 93 to 94?
So that was part of it.
Like, internally, how did that change the way the locker room
that was definitely part of it.
I know the unfinished business thing was like a mantra, and
the minute 16 on the clock was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Stewart kind of reminding us of how we felt in the locker room.
Mm-hmm. Just don't ever want to feel that way again.
Right.
Yeah.
That was big. And being so close without getting there was huge.
Sure.
Right? Because we felt like
it's like an unfulfilled yearning.
And it was the kind of things that keep you up at night.
Sure.
And talent-wise, you know, we were so good in 93. People talk about the 99 team as the best team that did win a championship. Mm-hmm. I believe it was 93. And if not 93, then maybe 96. 93 we were loaded too. 93 we were better at quarterback. Mm-hmm. But 96
look at T phrase, right? In year 2 as the starter.
But 96 defensively had some fellas across the board.
Remind me if I'm wrong here, but isn't one of the big factors in 96 is Terrell Farley not available for part of that season?
That was part of it. Like, you know,
because he was a menace.
He was.
Yeah.
He was lights out. I think our starting lineup in Texas hurt us with who wasn't playing. I mean, we were missing a handful of guys. And
was that a flu situation?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it was not. It was
not good.
No, I mean, we're improvising. I mean, we're playing Mike Minner at linebacker, right? Like, you know, we were really banged up at running back. We weren't all the way comfortable with what we were doing at the quarterback spot in terms of our offense, the ability to throw the ball. And, I mean, there just was, and being a captain that year was really, really difficult.
Yeah.
I heard Jason Peter tell the story the best. He was talking to Omaha West Side this summer, coincidentally, about what? Repeating.
Okay.
What it's like to have the bullseye on your back. And he said something that was pretty eye-opening because a lot of people don't say it out loud. Mm-hmm. somebody raised their hand and they said, "Hey, what would you have changed differently about that season?" And he said, "I would have spoke up earlier and been more assertive as a leader on the team, even though I wasn't a captain."
With like guys that weren't doing what they were supposed to.
100%.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And so I'm in the back listening, right? And he kind of broke it down.
Did he say why he didn't speak up earlier?
Because of the pecking order and the nostalgia, the history of knowing your role at the university. Okay. Young guys did this, older guys did this. This is kind of how it went.
So did he misunderstand that the pecking order and the roles meant that?
I think he misunderstood that it can be fluid.
Right. Well, and that it's everybody's role to keep people accountable, right?
Accountability is accountability, and
across the board.
Pecking order is very fluid.
Kind of a different
now
thing.
We had so how he described it is it didn't have anything to do with their playing ability, because between the two, the total number of rounds that they were drafted in, the number comes up to 4. Mike Minter's a second rounder. Jared Thomas is a second rounder. Yeah. So those guys are obviously good.
Absolutely.
But their leadership style is they're not very vocal.
Right.
They're just quiet. They
go
guys.
About their work.
They just mind
lead by example.
Yep.
But some people need a vocal leader.
Right. And so he said he kicks himself over not being cognizant of that real time, even though he wanted to. Now on offense, it was me and Dish.
Yeah.
Chris Dishman. And there were just some things I didn't feel like we could overcome, especially from an offensive standpoint, that made us versatile.
Sure.
Right.
Felt a little one-dimensional.
Well, just the ability to like deal on the perimeter, when to pitch, when to keep.
Sure.
When it was a design.
Which is an underrated skill, by the way.
Oh, why do I talk about it all the time with Sims? Right. So my thing with Jeff Sims, I was furious.
Yeah.
Because this is where you get the insight of a guy that's been there, done that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you can't be an armchair and share it, but you can't question Sims' decision-making ability without giving him credit for how he handled the read game,
which is
within the option.
The first thing I went to, because I thought his zone reads
he was spectacular.
Were so good. He nailed it, I think, every time.
And it's hard to do.
And listen, a zone read is different than an option read. Is different. Like it's a different thing, right?
I thought he made the right decisions on give, keep. So
I thought every time.
So he understands situational awareness.
Yes.
Which is why I was kind of a little bent out of shape about, well, he doesn't see. It's so easy to say he doesn't see the whole field. Now, it's not really that as much as it is touch. Listen. I'm here for it, right? Because opinions are.
Because I'm going to push back, but go ahead.
No, that's totally cool, right? The Borkature deal, I know he's reading the flat defender. I know he's reading the number 2 defender.
Sure.
That guy sunk and played.
He played him
the corner route. So he either needed a little more touch.
You need to loft it
to the back pylon, or just throw the ball to Borkature.
Yeah.
But I know what he was reading.
Sure.
And it was a one-side field read. You
100%.
had the little wheel concept from Ramir, even though they're on the 5-yard line. So it's not – he's to hold the outside defender.
Yeah.
Borkature is the option choice guy. He sits it down. And Castaneda did the short motion to get to the corner to dictate coverage.
Yeah.
So I know what he saw.
And the one guy baited like he was staying on Borkature, and then he dropped back.
He bailed back
to IGC in the corner. Yeah.
Which – was a good play.
Which my argument is, hey, zip it in there to Borkature. It gets there anyway.
Yeah.
That's my argument.
But I do know what he was reading.
Which is totally understandable. My issue in terms of read was the last one, because he never saw that underneath guy.
I know it.
And some guys struggle. It's not that he doesn't see the whole field. Some guys struggle seeing underneath defenders through traffic in the middle.
Do you know what it is, though? This is what I think two throws embody this.
Okay.
The throw to Tommy Hill, which he threw too far inside.
Yeah, he threw far goalpost instead of near goalpost.
Should have been near goalpost. Should have thrown it far. The skinny to Washington was late. You allowed, so on a skinny, just
you're talking about on the pick.
Yeah. So on a skinny post, if you let the backside safety get involved, you threw the ball too late.
So here's what I saw. I understand what you're saying there. I felt like that safety was sitting on the route the whole time.
It doesn't get to him if he puts it on him.
That's fair. But that you're playing with fire there regardless.
Put it on him when he comes out of his break.
Okay, fair.
Right? Like, so I don't, you know what I mean? It's like.
So maybe he saw him, maybe he didn't. But either way,
I
he
just
threw
think
it late
he allowed the backside safety to be a
to
player.
get into position.
Because watch Newbin, he's holding the back hash.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have been involved in that play.
No.
Not on a skinny.
No.
He held the ball too long.
Fair.
Okay, and he threw it too far inside. So, and I get it. Well, DB, man, don't let him do that. You can't expect a quarterback to not do that. But that was the second time in the game. So if you're looking at it from an eye vantage point, the ball should have stayed on the near hash both times.
Okay, and it leaked out on him.
It went to the far hash.
Yeah.
It went to the far hash on Hill's post. It went to the far hash on the little skinny.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Got to hold the hash with the throw.
Okay.
You don't allow the backside guy to come in there.
That actually makes me feel better if it was a misplaced throw rather than a bad read. Because if he just doesn't see Newbin, I'm scared.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Because if you just
the ball can't be thrown there.
Yes. If he just didn't see Newbin in that situation, or didn't see the flat defender in the Borkature situation, that scares me, because if you're not seeing underneath defenders, you have a real problem.
And all I'm telling you is, I don't know exactly what he saw. I'm telling you what the read is.
What the read is, yeah.
Right. So
maybe he saw it, maybe he didn't.
Yeah. So that
right.
That's the distinction.
That's what we don't know yet.
Yeah. That's the distinction when you're trying to critique his play like everybody else is. Oh man, you can't see the. Listen, man, I don't know about that. I don't know about that yet. Could he not? Sure.
It's possible he didn't see the defenders.
Yeah, but I'll know more.
But it's possible he also just misplaced the throw.
Yeah, I'll know more as we progress.
I still need him to throw it to Borkature no matter what.
Listen. You go back to the radio broadcast.
No, I heard it.
I wanted Borkature to have the ball before they even broke the huddle.
You said it. You go, I like Borkature here.
Yep.
So I want to get back a little bit to so we talked kind of 90.
So that was kind of the difference, because to land
was the dynamicness at quarterback in 96
were the two differences,
between 93 and 96.
Correct.
So here's the other thing that I'm curious about differences, right? 93, you're on the front end of it. You haven't won anything yet in terms of titles, right? You're a winning program, haven't won national titles.
And
yet.
Remember, at that point, we still can't get over the hump.
Right.
Still
and
can't beat
Tom
teams
Osborne
on grass.
Can't win the big one.
100%.
You know, can't. Just 2 years ago, weren't nearly fast enough for Georgia Tech. Like all these things, right?
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of narratives happening in 93. Yeah. So there's a hunger.
Matter of fact, we've been blown out 3 years in a row. 90, 91, 92 in the bowl games.
What was the big one? Was Georgia Tech like 22-0 in like 90?
No, it was 45-10 maybe, 45 something.
Okay.
So the Georgia.
I'm misremembering.
No, listen, these scores.
They were bad.
Yeah.
They were ugly.
So like if you just get into like
there's one that people point to, and I don't know if it's accurate or not, but like, you know, people point to as that's the game where Osborne realized like, hey, I got to go get faster guys. That's where he goes get
it becomes a very easy narrative, but it
wasn't like that.
I mean, yes and no. So Georgia Tech was 45-21.
45-20.
Okay. 94, 93 or 92 against Miami, 22-0.
That's the one I was thinking of, 22-0 against Miami.
Florida State the year before was 27-14. So we're not in these games.
No. The one I was thinking of was Miami 22-0.
And here we go again, right? With
Florida State.
Yeah, because
that Florida speed.
Yeah. Nebraska lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bowl games in a row.
Yeah.
Before we beat Miami.
Right.
So
couldn't win the big one.
Nebraska has 7 years or 6 years or 5 years of one-score games that they can't get over the hump.
Where does that sound familiar?
Right. So why I'm so passionate about saying because it has been doesn't mean it always will be, because I know things can change.
So in 93, you're sitting there thinking, here we go again.
Potentially.
Could have been.
Because we knew.
Fans likely were.
Even T.O. in the pregame with Bob Costas, go back and watch Osborne and Bob Costas in the sit down.
Mhm.
And Bob Costas kept trying to lead T.O. down a narrative.
Mhm.
I thought, whoa.
T.O. wasn't having it.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what Vegas says. I just know this. This is this year's. He kept on with the interviews.
Mhm.
T.O. was just having none of it,
Yeah.
right? And we had tremendous leadership,
Mhm.
right? We knew we were getting Trev back off the injury. Ed Stewart, Terry Keneally, like these, Zach Weger, these
Mhm.
guys just weren't, they wanted to write their own ending.
Mhm.
And so you need those guys.
Yeah.
Like, and believe me, we hadn't won before.
Right.
So the whole learning how to win, all these things make sense, right? When you hear me talk.
Mhm.
Because I always say,
Because you do have to learn how to win, right? That's
Yeah.
a real thing.
yeah, but
Like,
just because
learning is a lose behavior, winning is a learned behavior.
but just because you haven't
doesn't mean you can't.
doesn't mean you can't. Because
So
we
you
had
would-
neither.
You would say the seniors on this team that want to rewrite their own ending are an important part of turning this thing around.
I think leadership is the trump card.
Okay.
Just like, and that's all it is in repeating. It's, do you let how many of the C words take dominance? And there's 3. Okay. There's actually 4. So there's culture and competitiveness.
Okay.
Those are to the good.
Yeah.
And then there's complacency and contentment
Mhm.
that are to the bad.
To the bad.
Which of those C's creep into the forefront?
Sure.
And for most
Yeah.
teams, it's complacency
and contentment.
and contentment.
So let me ask this, because 93 and 96, the mindset of the teams, just by the nature of what had happened in the 2 years in between, had to be very different.
It's starkly different.
Because on 93, you're on the front edge, you're hungry.
Mhm.
And then on 96, you're kind of dealing with that Pat Riley disease of more,
And-
disease of me.
And we lost some critical pieces.
Obviously, you lose T. Frage, huge piece.
Zach Weger,
Brendan.
Brendan Stye, Aaron Graham.
Yeah,
Like,
you're losing some real dudes.
You're talking about some
real dudes.
offensive leadership. Now, defensively,
You were in really good shape.
we were
still.
in good shape.
But offensively, that's what
I mean,
took
that's
the extra-
Peter, that's Wistrom, that's Mike Minner.
Yeah.
Like, we had some fellas.
Yeah, the
Jay
dudes.
Foreman's coming back. Farley's a budding star.
Mhm.
Like, we felt good defensively, but we were missing a lot of, quote unquote, of the intangibles.
on the offensive side and on the defensive side.
Nope, just
on the offensive
primarily
side.
on the offensive side. Primarily on the offensive
Was
side.
there any part in the moment? Was there any awareness from you as a captain?
Mhm.
Which I don't mean to have you take this the wrong way.
No, it just has.
It was fairly unusual for a starter to be a captain,
Correct.
right? Because Amon was the starter going into the year.
Yep.
And you
And I
still
was
ended-
coming off I had a brilliant offseason.
Yeah.
I mean, magazine covers and, second to none and
Yeah.
striving to be one. And believe me, there were times I felt like I was treated unfairly.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm just being honest.
By
right?
the coaching staff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like you didn't get a fair shake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I mean, who's to say if that's true or not? I'm just telling you.
How you felt in the moment.
Yeah. Because that's all I can get. I just got, well, you know what? I was this, I was that.
Did being a captain feed into that at all? Because you're like, hey, my teammates see me as this, but you guys don't.
Being a captain kept me at bay.
Okay.
So if you ask me what was my greatest accomplishment at the University of Nebraska, it's not the championships.
It's being a captain.
It's being voted a captain by my peers.
Sure.
That's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
Right? Not
Right.
even T. Fraze was voted a captain.
Fair. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so for me, like, that kept me at bay.
Okay.
And
because it validated your worth on the team.
100%.
Okay. You're like, even if I'm not starting, even if I'm not getting the carries I think I should, my teammates understand my worth.
100%. You know what else is funny?
What's
This is so into how the sausage was made that nobody knows. I'll tell you another thing.
Yeah.
Why do I cheer for Anthony Grant? You know why I cheer for Anthony Grant?
Because you had some fumble problems?
Nope. Because I played behind a couple guys that couldn't take care of the ball and they still got to play.
Oh.
Amon Green
Okay.
and D'Angelo Evans.
D'Angelo, I remember those. Yeah.
Shoot, ask Amon about his freshman year in 95.
Yeah.
Didn't feel really good about himself. Would get chastised in practice, couldn't take care of the ball, but the coaches believed.
Yeah. And they knew they were going to need him.
At some point. So what do you hear me say about Anthony
You're
Grant?
going to need him at some point.
If you're playing the long game,
You have to keep riding.
you have to stay with it.
Mm,
And so I always nobody, I mean,
okay.
nobody really knows this stuff
Yeah.
until it comes out like this.
Right.
But I watched two guys go through it
Yeah. And come out the other side.
and come out of the other side.
Yeah.
So I'm cheering for you because the upside is worth it.
Sure. The juice is worth the squeeze.
100%.
So
100%. So if you want man, why does this? So I'm talking to guys like Saturday and stuff on YouTube, and
Yeah.
I can
this
take
is the
it.
context
Yeah.
of
Do you know why I can take the criticism? Because in my heart of hearts, I've seen it. I've experienced it
Yeah.
before.
you
I've
know
seen
that
it play
can
out.
happen.
I'm not getting caught up in the moment.
Yeah. Because you look at, okay, here's another thing you like to say. Past performance is usually the best indicator of future performance, right?
Yeah.
But you can take that from the micro sense of, hey, Anthony Grant's been fumbling in practice. That's his past performance. You can take it to the macro sense of saying, hey, I've seen this before with running backs who have a little bit of hard time. They had a past performance.
Do you remember him on in the NFL?
Yeah, he started off having fumble troubles.
Yeah,
why
White Seattle let it go
because he couldn't hold on the football.
Couldn't take care of the football.
Yeah.
But guess what?
He ends up in Green Bay and he's doing okay.
And somebody invested in him.
Somebody
and he's their
believed the juice
he's their
was worth
career
the squeeze.
Their career leading rusher. I've seen it happen.
Enough
I've
times
seen it happen
that-
with Ricky Waters.
Yeah.
Terrell Owens couldn't catch the ball. Like
bad hands. Yeah, he got labeled bad hands.
like I've just seen it too many times for me to like succumb to it. Now you will reach a point of diminishing returns.
Yeah, there's a critical mass, right?
Guess what though? I'm not there yet with AG.
And I assume you're not there yet with Jeff Sims either.
Nope.
Okay.
I know. Am I?
Because that's the next question, right?
Am I crazy?
I don't know if you're crazy because if you think of it in the context of, hey, if you think you're going to need a guy, then you have to at least continue to give him opportunities to prove himself. Now, where that comes in conflict, people seem to think, right, is Matt Rule said, hey, if guys don't take care of the football, they're not playing.
Yeah, I heard him say it.
Right? So that's where the conflict is. How in your mind do you
because he's
calibrate those?
Because he's not talking to us. He's talking to AG.
So he's just saying at some point, if you can't keep taking care of the football, we can't keep riding with you.
It's not a condemnation or it's not a death sentence. He's foreshadowing how it's going to go down.
He's setting expectations.
Yeah, because
he's just doing it publicly.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to say the other day. We didn't get to it, but do you think Coach Rule openly wants to be like, hey, I know I said this. It comes across as double talk. I want to be a liar.
Right. Yeah. No.
Not. Do you know what he knows? He knows in his heart of hearts who he feels like, I could be speaking out of pocket here. But it is my opinion, having been in those positions before.
Yeah.
He wholeheartedly believed the juice is worth the squeeze for what they needed in the run game because of how he feels about Anthony Grant as a natural runner.
So
how he sees the field,
yes,
how the first guy doesn't get him.
And we talked about this before.
There was a reason he was in the game.
There was a reason he was in the game. And if it weren't for the play made by the Minnesota defender, that's a great run.
It's like, see? That's the guy.
Perfect 4-minute offense run.
Now,
it's the run that you want in that situation to salt away a game. Now,
am I listening to the critics? I absolutely am.
Yeah, because if you fumble the ball, it doesn't matter.
He fumbled the ball, it doesn't matter.
You could run to the 1 yard line every time, but if you fumble, it doesn't matter.
I'm also the same guy that said I'd throw that ball to Terrence Nunn 1,000 times out of 1,000 times against Texas when he fumbled.
Yeah.
I'm also the same guy that watched. I use AG and as in Amen Groin or Amon Green. I call him Amen Groin just because we're boys, but like, amen, man, my groin. No, so I know it's so dumb.
That's funny, though.
But we're in a moment, right?
Yeah,
like we're riding here.
Yeah.
This is kind of intense.
Yeah.
So I've seen it with AG.
Yeah.
I've seen it with D'Angelo. You know who else I saw it with?
Who?
Dan Alexander.
Yeah.
Coral Buckhart.
Couldn't hold on the ball.
Like
98. 98, that team is undefeated if anybody holds on to the football.
And I know that there was a coach that told Crouch, hey, man, don't pitch it because our guys can't catch the ball.
Yeah.
And I know who was playing running back then, too.
Yeah.
So you can come out of the back end
come out the other side
if you believe, which is why I'm.
If you have somebody ride with you, you can come out the other side.
I listen, man. I just want somebody to believe in me.
Yeah,
that's it. So that's why you hear what you hear. So, when it comes to repeating or the other way, like bucking trends, like
Mhm.
if I'm a habitual loser,
Mhm.
sometimes it just takes belief. It's not about the physical.
So in both the situations, though, so whether you're Nebraska in '96 trying to three-peat, or if you're Nebraska in 2023 trying to get back into national relevance as a football program, it's about breaking the other two C's, the complacency and the contentment. That's a lot what Matt Rule's talked about, right? It's nice being a football player at the University of Nebraska, right?
Yep.
You get good food, you get good gear, everybody loves you.
Yep.
Even I mean, for the most
But,
part,
but what's he talking about? You have to earn the
you have
right.
to earn the right for all those things.
You have to earn the right to be there in the fourth quarter to try to win these games.
And they were.
That's all. So
They earned the right against Minnesota.
did he not speak that into existence?
Yeah.
But so do they have to get over the hump?
They still got to kick down the door, right?
But he's not blowing smoke up your butt when
Mhm.
he says we're at the beginning
Mhm.
of trying to do something. That past stuff, that's not on me.
Because if you want to go deep, you can't say, "Hey, we should have benched Damon Green," right? Because he couldn't hold on to the football.
Yeah. Ask him
can't say-
sometime.
Yeah, right.
Say, listen, man, did they believe in you? Yeah, man. Sometimes it was at my teammates' expense. That's how I felt.
Yeah,
But guess what? I'm cheering my ass off for him because I want to win.
yeah. And
I
you're
wanna
going to
win.
need that guy if you're
Yeah.
going to win.
Right? If I'm playing the long
If you're
game,
going to win, you need that guy.
I need you to be good. This isn't some feel good story. I'm just telling you real time how the whole thing plays out.
Yeah.
When I get my ass pulled in Pasadena for
Yeah.
laying it on the carpet, do you know why I cheer for LP? It's not because we were boys and he was my roommate on the road. I want to win.
You want to win the game.
I want to win.
And I mean, probably selfishly, there's a part of you that wants your fumble to not matter.
Yeah, save my ass.
Right? Yeah. Hey, cover me here.
Yep, got me.
Get my back here.
Got me.
Make sure my fumble doesn't cost us here. Right?
When we were at practice and stuff, and we lost a little bit of this as my career went
In
forward.
'96.
Like we would cover for one another if one of us was having a bad day. Hey, listen, I know there's two to us at a station. You feel good. I don't. It's cold out here.
You in a good mood or what?
LP hated he hated the cold, right?
Yeah, not from here.
I said, hey, so we would look at the script. This is a real story.
Yeah.
We'd look at the script. I'll take this play. I'll get these two. You get the next two. You get these two. Because we just had to go in pairs.
Yeah.
Because by the time you ran one out, the next guy was ready to go.
Yeah.
We would look out for one another. We stopped kind of doing that the older that I got, because if you can't dominate the controllables,
Yeah.
you don't get the big picture stuff.
Yeah.
Because it happens.
Because you're trying to keep your head above water.
Well, I'm telling you.
Whereas,
man.
like, if you're an adept swimmer, you can make some other choices.
Oh,
right.
That's a great yeah.
If you're just there treading water,
Yep.
it's a lot harder to decide
Yep.
which direction you want to go.
And we kind of lost.
Whereas if you're Michael Phelps out there, you can go back,
Yeah.
you go backstroke, you can go breaststroke, you can do whatever you want.
So guys were mad at Farley
Mhm.
as opposed to picking him up.
To cover and for him,
Yep.
to helping him out.
Yep.
Man.
Guys were mad at Frost.
Yeah.
As opposed to help picking him up.
Mm.
Guys were mad at Adam True as
Okay.
opposed to kind of help picking him up.
Picking him up.
So, like, and it doesn't take.
It's a fine line between accountability and anger.
Right.
Right.
Where do you
Because you have to care that they messed up both ways, right?
Do you think I just got out of bed and said, hey, here's a great saying? The difference between an excuse and an explanation is ownership.
Yeah.
Nope. I have plenty of real life application
So there was
on what the difference was.
just less ownership in
Just
'96.
we had a lot less
a little more
ownership.
complacency. A
Shoot,
little
some
more
of our
contentment.
guys are still mad.
Yeah.
And point fingers over who was available and who wasn't.
Mm.
I'm not mad at them for that.
Yeah. Because they wanted to win.
They wanted to win.
Can I ask you guys a quick question
Yeah.
before we get out of here?
I have one more too, but go ahead, Shane.
On the rivalry, does it matter where it falls in the schedule for the year? I say that because Nebraska,
Colorado's was at the end for us.
well, Colorado's at the end for you. During the 80s, it was
Oklahoma was
Oklahoma
at the
every
end.
time.
Iowa's at the end.
I
now.
think the importance of the game
is trumps
matters.
everything.
Matters to the intensity of the rivalry.
That's why Florida State used to be at each other's
Because
throats,
it was
right?
for
every year. It was like, hey,
it was going to matter for
the
something.
winner has a chance to win a national title.
And you said it best this morning when you said people didn't get you when you said, well, they've been They haven't been competent. They haven't been competent programs.
Yeah.
But that's code for it hasn't mattered.
Yeah.
On a national level of importance.
It hasn't even really mattered on a conference
and an
level
internal,
for the most part.
I was going to say, and on an internal level
Yeah.
between the two schools.
For sure. Last thing I wanted to get to about heading into 96. Obviously, you had the death of Brooke Behringer going into that season. Emotionally, did that change anything within the program? Was it just kind of a, I mean, obviously he wasn't going to be with the team in 96 anyway, right? I'm just curious because obviously Brooke meant a lot
and that
to
was your
me.
And that was your guy.
Yeah. So I've always just kind of wondered if that had any effect going on to the next season, or because he was leaving anyway, if it didn't really hit it as much.
On a personal level, no, but I can't speak for
anybody else on the team.
Everybody else.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a tough spring.
Sure. Yeah,
because of the tribute.
Yeah.
Husker Vision.
Yeah.
All of that was just getting birthed.
And,
you know, a lot of things were coming easy to us.
Yeah.
People started to love on you and say good things. And
when stuff comes easy, that's an enemy of winning.
Well, the other C words get a chance to creep in.
Complacency and contentment.
100%.
Man, I appreciate you going into this stuff with me.
100%.
I really do.
100%.
Because I know you don't always love it.
No, I mean,
but that was good stuff.
When you like kind of sneak it in and I just get going,
it's
a lot better than when you let me think about it and I can control my emotions.
Well, that was good. That was good stuff. I'm glad we did that.
I think people are going to be like, man, what the world just happened?
I think people are going to enjoy that. That's Damon Benning. I'm Ravi Lulla. Make sure you catch us every weekday morning, Hurrdat Sports Radio and AM 590 ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We are on the Damon Benning Show with Ravi Lulla every weekday from 7 to 10 a.m. And we will keep pumping out the Dish and Ish podcast because we can't get into stuff like this on the radio.
That's what we do.
So appreciate it as always. That's our guy Shane Schillerberg back in the booth. We will see you again next week.